Dr. V.K. Saraswat, Chairman of the Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council, popularly called TIFAC amongst the scientists, Dr. Professor Pradeep Srivastav ji, Executive Director of TIFAC, Dr. Sanjay Singh ji, Mr. Mathur, all other distinguished scientists, guests, other stakeholders, academic people. I am told that more than 300-400 people have joined us in this function. Function is apparently on a small scale, where there are right now physically 5 people present from the department, apart from our media friends and others. But we are joined by many others. But the book that has been released, or the publications that have been released today, I think these two publications have a lot of meaning for the country. They may appear to be two small publications, but they have been produced by TIFAC in the last 2-3 months itself. Professor Pradeep Srivastav, the new Executive Director of TIFAC, has joined the institution as its Executive Director only recently. And all that is contained in this it pertains to the post-COVID situation. So these two facts itself speak volumes about the kind of effort that has been made by Professor Srivastav and his team under the guidance of Dr. Saraswat, and of course our Secretary Science and Technology, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, who is not here today, maybe due to some unavoidable reasons, but they have done tremendous work. When we saw the slide presentation, we could appreciate that 40 meetings were held to make this booklet or the recommendations, which is called the Focused Interventions for Make in India Post-COVID-19, and the other one is Active Pharmaceutical Ingredients, Status, Issues, Technology Readiness and Challenges. Both the issues are very apt, very timely, very, very relevant. Although TIFAC has been working for a long time, I remember having released a couple of years back, maybe around 2-3 years, a document in which they had projected what's going to be the scene about technology in 2035. And just now in the presentation we could see that in the past they have virtually worked in every relevant field, have consulted all possible experts, all possible stakeholders. Today they have also gone into the nitty-gritty of the problems that are being faced or are likely to be faced by the industry, by the laborers, by the migrant workers, and in fact in all relevant fields right now, whether it is agriculture, whether it is health, whether it is IT communication, etc., or food processing, they have gone into all the relevant subjects these days. We all know that the whole world suffered from COVID and is still suffering from COVID, and no one really knows how long we will continue to suffer on the scale on which we are suffering right now. And this journey about handling or tackling COVID for the whole world and of course for India also started in the month of January. For me in the health ministry, I distinctly remember that 7th of January was the date when World Health Organization had informed the whole world about the arrival of a new coronavirus. And here in the health ministry, we had organized a meeting on the 8th of January itself. So since then, the whole health ministry, all our officials, all our doctors, all our healthcare workers, all the state governments, all the health departments supported with heart and soul by all other relevant ministries, and of course guided and monitored and blessed by our dear Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for almost 6 months now. It's exactly 6 months that we are only talking about COVID, we are only handling COVID, we are trying to protect people from COVID, we are trying to upgrade and ramp up our infrastructure to handle the worst possible scenario. But I am happy today that when TIFEC is releasing this, and if I also look back the last 6 months, I think India has performed as compared to the whole world commendably quite well. You look at any parameter that can really define the approach of a country, the outcome of the interventions that the country has introduced for its people. India stands, I think, at a far better position than the rest of the world. Today when I am releasing this document, which has basically focused on handling the post-COVID situation and more particularly using science and technology to handle the economic situation which has suffered drastically due to so many interventions, whether it was lockdown, etc., etc. We know that we have some of the best statistics supporting our claim. We have a recovery rate of almost 62 to 63% now. Out of the almost 8 lakh patients who suffered from COVID, we have almost 5 lakh who have recovered and gone back home. Rest of them are on road to recovery, and our mortality rate continues to be probably the lowest in the whole world. It's about 2.72% this morning. When we talk of infrastructure, nobody will believe that we started with one lab in the country in the month of January. Our first case was reported on 30th of January. And we could use our, exploit our potential to the extent that today when I'm talking, I can say proudly that we have almost 1,170 laboratories in the country which are helping the vast population of this country, even in the remotest areas. And yesterday itself we had tested almost 2,70,000 people in the country, and by now we have tested over 11 million people in the country. It's I think it's just unbelievable. This detection of this virus, and the swab for this virus, it used to be sent to America, the Center for Disease Control there, a couple of years back. That's not far back, it's only in recent memory. And today we have been able to develop that. We have established dedicated COVID hospitals, COVID healthcare centers, COVID care centers, and only dedicated for COVID patients. It's a bed strength of almost 13-14 lakh right now. Significant portion of it still remains unutilized. We have, as a country, we were the ones, we were not producing any PPEs. But today, we are producing 5 lakh PPEs every day. We are in a position to even export them to other countries. Hydroxychloroquine, the drug which is supposed to be the most potent prophylactic drug right now, we are exporting to over 100 countries. I think the number is something like 140 countries or so. We are making our own N95 masks. Even our science ministries have, I think, produced new, innovative, very perfect masks. They have produced indigenous ventilators and all those things that were required to handle this pandemic. They have been all done by the science ministries. We could isolate the virus. We could, in fact, we are doing the genetic sequencing of the virus in a big way. It's almost a target of doing genetic sequencing of over 1,000 viruses. A large number of them have already been done by our almost I think over a dozen vaccine candidates are in reasonably good stage. Half a dozen are in almost likely to be into the clinical trial stages in the near future. Scientists are working on new drug discoveries, repurposing of the old drugs for using in handling of COVID situation, etc., etc. So, on the COVID front, also, Dr. Saraswat was mentioning about telemedicine. You see, telemedicine right now is being practiced in a big way during the COVID pandemic in India. We have already the telemedicine guidelines. Our doctors in All India Institute of Medicine are connected with all the treating doctors all over the country for sharing information, for sharing the good experience, for giving the best protocols and all sorts of clinical trials around whether it is plasma therapy or whether it is other drugs, etc. They are all being done. So the one point that I want to emphasize is that even for treating COVID or helping COVID, in the initial stages, we remember that there was so much of problem about these kits. Every kit for testing RT-PCR kits or whether the antibody tests, everybody remembers that the initial stages we had a big hiccup about the antibody tests, and then we got the ELISA kit developed in this country. Other kits also, even the antigen test kit is all developed in India, and it is because of all this that we are doing such a huge number. So almost on every front while we are handling COVID, it's not about the effect of COVID on economy. That's a separate issue which has been dealt by TIFEC, but our scientists have risen to the occasion. They have responded well. They have ensured that they work within the set time frame, the timeliness they have honored, and it's now a war against COVID not only by the medical community. The corona warriors, of course, the doctors, the nurses, and the paramedical staff, and the sanitation, and the policemen, and the journalists working in the field, They are also the corona warriors. They are the corona warriors outside scene, but our corona warriors inside the laboratories are also, they have also risen to the occasion. So it's an occasion I would like to compliment the scientists also. But I think TIFEC has done a great job, because we know the way Prime Minister stood up. And I think it's not only handling COVID, but anticipating the damage to economy and to the common man's life that could happen. The Prime Minister, we remember that in the initial stages, we remember the 1.7 lakh crore package. I remember as a health minister the 15,000 crore package given to me in the health ministry to take care of everything in the country. We distributed all that to the states and made sure that no one in the country is suffering because of shortage of money. And then we all remember that this 20 lakh crore Atmanirbhar Bharat thing, which took almost a week. Every day the finance minister had to explain for almost an hour in a press conference for almost a week, to explain the details of what has been the support to health, what has been the support to MSME, what is the support to other sectors, and every possible thing was planned. And the way the country has, I think, we have seen that there is a very inherent, positive, strong wave inside the country to support the Swadeshi movement right now. And after the initial trouble that happened in China because of COVID, we all know that a lot of companies, Dr. Saraswat also mentioned, they are all wanting to come out of that place. And India has facilitated, it had been facilitating. We talk of a COVID, post-COVID thing, but if we recall what the Prime Minister has done, we start remembering that he has been doing all these things right from 2014. One of the first few cabinet notes that I remember was about a digital India, was about the financial inclusion. And we now see that it is because of those things that, and you mentioned about the availability of internet to the whole country. If we have to really, in a post-COVID world, when we started our work under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, it was only 356 kilometers of optical fiber which was laid in the country. And in the last 5-6 years, almost every panchayat has been reached. The Prime Minister wants everybody in this country to enjoy every facility within the phone, whether it is education from a professor in India or whether it is education from a professor in America. And he wants the fruits to be enjoyed by even the poorest of the poor boy, young boy belonging to a village area or a tribal area, to enjoy the fruits of technology. So he had been thinking about it, doing about it. And the Make in India that you are talking about in this, it's not that he is talking about an Atmanirbhar Bharat today. He organized a big, Dr. Saraswat may recall that great function in 2014 itself, which was organized in the Vigyan Bhavan, where all the top people of the whole country, they came and spoke about Make in India. So we had made a significant headway in that direction also. But now, when in a post-COVID situation, where there is a bit of a suffering, there is a bit of a setback. These numbers, I think they are all academic numbers, the GDPs and all. But if the country is strong, if the people are strong, if the leadership is strong, you can change the numbers. You don't take years to change those numbers. You can change those numbers in a few months or one or 2 years. And that is what the Prime Minister has been focusing. All through, I have heard his speeches in the last Science Congress functions in which have been inaugurated by him right from 2015 itself, he has been saying, he has been reminding scientists about their scientific social responsibility. He has been telling all of us that make sure that science is not only for producing a paper or for putting it in the record and glorifying the CV of a scientist, but what you do in the lab, it should have impact on common man's life. We should be able to use it. The fundamental science must be translated into people's science or solution science, and science which will actually alleviate people's sufferings. And what I have seen over the last 5-6 years is not only about TIFAC, but overall our scientific community has appreciated the guidance given by the Prime Minister. And he has also been interacting with the scientific community very openly, guiding them, following up on things, monitoring things. Where he doesn't, where he feels that people are not up to the mark, he also points that, and where he feels that people have done well, he appreciates them. So it is because of the guidance of our Prime Minister that the scientific community also feels encouraged. And I am sure that this white paper, where there is a guidance in the present situation. Post-COVID situation is a different situation. We are sitting here, but I cannot see the face of Mr. Sanjay Singh. I cannot recognize Sanjay Singh if I had not seen him, and I cannot even recognize Professor Pradeep Srivastava because I haven't seen him since the time he joined. It was a COVID time. And today also he is in a mask. So, but that's not so relevant. It's a change situation. But the good thing about COVID is that there is no big rocket science to protect yourself from COVID. The rocket science is only this much. Rocket science is only this 2-meter distance. Rocket science is only washing hands. And rocket science is keep yourself away from any unknown surface, or maybe wash or follow the respiratory etiquettes. Don't keep your hands away from your mouth, nose or eyes, etc. That's the only rocket science about it. And that's what all through the COVID I was saying, that don't bother about the vaccine. It will come one day, but at least use the social vaccine which is available to us. And this is a social vaccine basically. So all these recommendations that you have put here, which have been drafted after huge consultations by all stakeholders, because when you are in trouble, sometimes your mind doesn't work and you are not able to readjust or you redefine or re-strategize the path. But for the industry, for other stakeholders, for those sufferers, for the government system, for the various departments in the government, and for everyone who is concerned, I think these guidelines and these recommendations, they should play a key role. But the last point, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of these guidelines because there's a huge, I saw that even for the active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, also for which already there is a policy within the government to ensure that we come back to a situation where we don't need to import them, we develop them within, and otherwise also the drug industry in this country, the vaccine manufacturing industry in the country, we have already, yesterday itself I was in a WHO session, I said we have the capacity and the capability to provide 60% of the requirements of that's our manufacturing capability. So we would love to be in a leadership role at the WHO platform where India can contribute significantly. So what I am trying to say, that all these recommendations and all those things that have been given, usually when we make these publications, we feel happy about them, we showcase them and we just maybe send them to few places. But the real worth of these publications is that whosoever is relevant, who is likely to be the potential beneficiary, even at the grassroots level, not only a big industrial house or a big government department, the recommendation should go up to him, and it should go up to him or her in the, you can say, simplest manner, in all using all possible tools of communication, and make sure that if the people have access to a good advice, people will certainly follow it, and then only this will become worth. Otherwise it will simply remain an academic exercise. For every publication, this is an appeal that I always make sure that this publication, because making releasing is an easy task, it's a photo opportunity, but lot of hard work goes into the making of a publication, but its real fruits should be enjoyed by the people. Like when we say that you develop a new technology, it's of no use if it remains in the laboratory. Unless it goes and delivers, maybe with the help of the industry, unless it is delivered to the people, it's of no use. Similarly, all these recommendations, I think, they have to be transferred in the ablest manner. So I would request that Professor Pradeep Srivastav, with the guidance of our Dr. Saraswat, you should also strive to ensure that whatever you have published, it goes to the right quarters. It goes to the Prime Minister, it goes to his advisors, it goes to the relevant departments, it goes to the industrial houses, it goes to the Confederation of Indian Industry, it goes to whosoever is relevant. And of course, there are hundreds and thousands of these MSMEs where the government is very keen. The government has given a package of 20,000 crores, but how they use that package, what is how they basically become the real beneficiaries of that, how they can redefine their strategies, and of course how we can use the digital world again to deliver healthcare in a better way. It's now all about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and robotics, and about these data analytics and data mining. So many things have been mentioned. All these should not remain, no longer should be only theoretical things. They should now become, in health I see many things where artificial intelligence is already being used, but the department can find out further ways to ensure that artificial intelligence is not something very big hyped thing. It is something which can be used for delivering the best. And of course healthcare, all these things are very, very important, because nothing is more precious and more important than protecting and saving the life of the common man, keeping him healthy, keeping him free from diseases. So once again, as a health minister, I thank all of you. As a science and technology minister, I feel proud of my scientists, and I think we promise that we'll continue to make further roads into significant inroads into the new processes that may be needed for the whole country to come back to the normal stage, because there is a big target that the Prime Minister has been dreaming about since 2017. He wants the country to be delivered a new India by 2022, followed up by a Vishwa Guru Bharat. Now he has, to reach those stages, he has appealed to the people to be a party to an Atmanirbhar Bharat. To the scientific community, he has been reminding that we want to become the top 2-3 scientific nations of the whole world by 2030. So all these things, I think all professionals, everybody, scientists, doctors, industry houses, everybody has to rise to the occasion. So I think once again, thanks all of you at IFEC, and I'm sure that we'll have better days in the future. And I pray that this post-COVID era, the new normal that is being developed for the whole world and for the society, it will certainly be in the larger interest of humanity. Today we may not be able to decide, but as you rightly said, this working from home, because the whole country and the whole world has now learned to work from home, and already there is a base that has been laid down by the Prime Minister for effectively working from home. It will certainly save so many man hours, it will certainly save so many wastage of petrol, traffic, congestion on the roads. If you look at it that way, many other problems are going to be solved because of this. And when I look at this mask, and when I look at this simple habit of washing hands and keeping a distance, I feel that it's not only helping COVID. Maybe in the years to come, we will find that so many other parameters have improved, because the disease transmission is almost similar. If you provide potable water to everyone, which is the target for next 5 years, I am sure many of the diseases will be towards a faster path to elimination. So in the long run, will it be decided that those who sacrifice their lives for the in the name of COVID, their sacrifice doesn't go waste. That way also, that could be our tribute to them, that we behave in a better way, we learn from the present circumstances and get into a better future for the whole world. Nature has, I think, it's a warning from nature. When I look at it from the perspective of an environment minister, I think that nature has given you a bit of a warning. Please behave with us in a respectful manner. Otherwise, there could be many more issues. So thank you so much. I think all our friends who have joined us in this program of release of this white paper. Thanks all of you for being with us, and I wish good health for all of you, all the scientific community, and all my countrymen. Thank you.